started this bike for the first time since it's been here a minute or two ago. It started within a couple of kicks and the owner said that it runs like a pig, and it certainly has a very hesitant and lacklustre throttle response. Which clears if I tickle the carburettor. So I'm going to check the carburettor over and its settings, and also have a look at the ignition timing and the valve clearances before we get too carried away with anything else. But I won't be taking a test ride on this as it is, because it's probably going to be barely able to pull away. So there's no point even getting togged up to go for a ride on this the way it is. So this will have to do as a sort of reference to the base settings and how it was when it arrived, really. I'm pretty sure that I can put it in order just by making a few adjustments though, so that's what I intend to do with it. Next up on the GT, I think we'll do the valve clearances. Probably reduce them by a good bit, I would say. Might quieten it down, might even find a few more horses. That's up next. Right, now we have new tyres, inner tubes and rim tapes on the wheels of this little Royal Enfield 250 GT, and I've also checked and cleaned the brakes while the wheels have been off and had the brakes apart and made sure everything's alright in there. And the next job is going to be to get rid of this play in the steering head bearings. Hopefully there's a lot of slop there, as I'm hoping to demonstrate now. I'm going to put the camera down on this piece of wood I've got, and I'll grab the front wheel and pull it backwards and forwards. Watch the gap between the mudguard and the front down tube engine mounting. It's actually shaking the camera as I pull the wheel. I'll do it more gently. Hopefully that play can be seen. So that'll be the next job, deal with that, and then probably be ready to give it a couple of goes up and down the lane, see how everything is, and then once it's been warmed up, give it an oil change and a filter, so on, and we'll be that little bit closer to being able to go and try it out on the road. Right, it's a baking hot day, and I'm going to be taking a ride on this little Royal Enfield 250 Continental GT. I'll just go over a few of the things that I've done with it. Apparently the engine's recently been rebuilt. I didn't rebuild it, but the owner sent it to me to try and sort out a few little niggles and issues all over the bike, really. So in total it's had 2 new tyres with inner tubes and rim tapes. I've attended to loose steering head bearings, loose push rods in the engine which were rattling around. We've had the engine running and set the timing, the ignition timing. I marked up the rotor and the stator and set the ignition timing by strobe. The carburettor settings have been checked and attended to. The clutch itself and the clutch operating mechanism were all rather badly assembled and adjusted, so I've done quite a lot of work in those areas. It's had a full oil change in the engine and filter, and gearbox oil, that's also been changed. Quite a lot of little bits and pieces dotted around all over it, really, one way or another. And I'm also told that the engine is quite tight after the rebuild. Whoever rebuilt the engine told the owner that apparently the big end is tight, and there's various bearings and bushes in there that are also quite tight, and that is why the engine has a bit of a whistly, whiny noise to it. So we'll see about that. I've ridden this bike up and down the lane, and it goes alright. It does actually feel a bit tight, so I'm not going to be thrashing it or overstressing it, although I am going to go up the road and take it up Bantam Hill and then hopefully get over that and come back down the other side. Also, as well as when I had the wheels off to do the tyres, I also cleaned out the brakes and checked them. So pretty much anything and everything that needed attending to has been done. Apart that one last job, the owners asked me to fit a choke to the carburettor. We haven't got a choke slide yet, an air slide. But on a day like this, where you could probably fry an egg on a tank, we're not going to need that. So I'm going to get my jacket and helmet and stuff on and try and ram things down my jacket to give myself a fake belly, and hopefully tip this camera up at a reasonable angle so that we can see where we're going. And we'll be looking through a screen, so I don't know what sort of view we'll get of everything, but hopefully it will be reasonable. And I wonder if we'll get chased by the dog today. Let's go and find out, shall we? Right, here we are with the Royal Enfield Continental GT. Hopefully I've got a reasonable camera angle set up. Let's get the fuel and ignition on and give it a go. That's, we do need that choke. Never let it be said that I warm bikes up before I start them for these videos. Right, let's give it a try. I'm hoping we're looking about the right sort of angle. Let's get in here.
you've got quite a bit of push. I suspected that the engine was loosening up. Turn the tick over down. Try that about there. Definitely a rather tight engine this. Hoping that we're seeing a decent view ahead. It's a lovely view today. We've got a bit of engine braking now.
hopefully I had a reasonable angle there. Sorry if I didn't. We'll try a hot start. It can't be any worse than that cold start was. Let's see what we got there. Right. Well, the tick over speed is increasing, so it's loosening up, but it feels very tight, that engine, and it also seems to lack quite a bit of well, kick in the pants, oomph if you like. Although I've said it before, I don't think any two of these Royal Enfield 250s that I've ridden and worked on have felt the same as each other, but this one does feel quite sort of tight and reluctant even, and I'm sure if I heard it with my helmet on going up Bantam Hill, I'm sure we all heard the pinking. I even heard some pinking coming down into the village. So there's a few things that I'd be considering looking at. I'll have to speak to the owner, because I think there's going to be more to this than just letting the engine loosen up a little. Although at least it showed no signs of tightening up, so that's one thing. It's all running okay, but yeah, it's lacking quite a bit of get up and go, even though I know it's got to be running and I didn't try too hard. It just generally felt like it was just lacking somewhere in the overall get up and go department, so probably a bit more to look at on this one. Maybe it hasn't got as high a compression piston in it as it should have, although we heard the pinking, so, and I know that the timing's definitely not over advanced. I suspected it might have been a little retarded, if anything. The carburettor settings I know are correct, so a bit of head scratching on this one I think, and speak to the owner and see where we go from here, if anything.